What's going on, y'all? Harry from Harry the Horse Barbecue here, and in this one, I am not horsing around with this breakfast burrito. We're gonna cure and smoke our own homemade bacon, make some homemade soft and fluffy flour tortillas, stuff the burrito with all the breakfast essentials, and then we will slice on into the ultimate breakfast burrito made entirely from scratch. Looking to take your mornings to the next level? Well, the horse has got your back. Let's get it.
Harry the Horse Barbecue.
Well, I love breakfast burritos, so we're gonna make some today. And being from New York, it's required to have a steady diet of bacon, egg, and cheese. So any way I can get that into my system is appreciated. So if we're making the ultimate scratch-made breakfast burrito, we gotta start by making some homemade bacon. Now, I thought I had footage of this, but I must have deleted it. However, we started with just shy of a 4-pound pork belly, similar to this one, just a wee bit bigger, and we used my homemade bacon cure to turn that pork belly into bacon. I simply weighed out 2.5% of the weight of the meat in bacon cure, which ended up being about 42 grams or so of this bacon cure that I used all over the pork belly. I vac sealed that belly up, threw it in my fridge for a little over a week, and then we had a fully cured belly ready for bacon. So with that being said, let me take y'all back to where we left off on this belly. Well, just a couple days ago, we got rocked by a snowstorm here in New York, so I let this bacon cure for about 9 days or so. So let's go grab that belly and get it ready for the smoker. And here's our belly. Just stop horsing around. Time to rinse. That looks pretty good. Gonna give her a bit of a pat down. And it only took 9 days to basically make some bacon. But to fully turn this into bacon, we gotta go smoke it off. And in my opinion, a breakfast burrito without bacon just is not a breakfast burrito. So out to that frozen tundra to fire up the cooker. I was horsing around, so I really can't snap. A bunch of cherry wood that I dug out from a snow pile. I said, hopefully that lights. It just keeps snowing, snowing, and snowing, snowing, and snowing, snowing, and snowing, snowing. Sweet. I shall cooker's climbing in temp. Let's get this belly on. Up and under. Okay, and as per usual, going on a raised rack right in the middle back of the cooker. Something about like that. And making bacon is super, super simple. All we gotta do is rock this bacon out for the next 4 or 5 hours or so at a smoky and kind of low temperature. We want that belly to render a little bit of fat, but the primary goal is to absorb as much smoke flavor as possible. The two biggest variables you can control when making your own bacon at home is the quality of meat and the amount of smoke flavor, so you might as well amp them up to the best level possible. Now I've got the damper to the smokestack almost halfway closed, and our fire is rocking anywhere from 225 to 250 degrees. I'll bring y'all back once it's looking like actual bacon, so until then all we gotta do is close it down. Boom, a shaka, a laka. And our bacon is done. Look at the color on that beast. Ooh, got that mahogany, smoky red look that bacon loves to take on. And this big old belly smoked away for about 4.5 hours on that offset. Basically just ran a super smoky 225 to 250, and this temped an internal of about 145 to about 150. So I pulled it and I rested it down on this counter for the last couple of hours, long enough for me to drink a couple blues and to make some cookies. Check it, that's a pretty cookie. But I'm gonna finish off this blue and maybe one more, vac seal up this belly, and I'll meet y'all back in the AM for some breakfast burritos. Did y'all know that burrito, AKA burrito, means little donkey in Spanish? Well, we finished up that bacon, and while it's just hanging out in the fridge, we're gonna make some beef fat flour tortillas for these homemade breakfast burritos. Now, shout out to Dave from Wilson's Barbecue and Brad from Chud's Barbecue. I could not have made these tortillas or these burritos without you guys. So go subscribe to their channels if you haven't already, and let's crank out these tortillas. My first time making these bad mama jammas, so we're going in with some bread flour. And this recipe is straight from Brad over at Chud's Barbecue, so no secrets here. A little baking powder and some kosher salt. And we'll cut all that in. Now down with our Wagyu beef tallow, South Chicago packing. Now cut that in. And then our water that is somewhere between 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So let that rip. I think that's it. Turn this out. And then we can work it around just a little bit, create a little bit of a smooth dough ball. That looks pretty good. And I think we're gonna go for somewhere around 150 grams because we're making big old burritos. 152, nailed it. Boom. Now, when I worked at Handsome Devil Barbecue, which is a local barbecue joint, I had the pleasure of working with a couple of people that were making homemade tortillas on the reg. And what they would do is very similar to making my dough balls that I make on this channel pretty often, is they put a pointer finger down, pinch and wrap, pinch and wrap, pinch and wrap, just pretty consistently to create a nice bottom and a smooth surface. Tuck those seams under, give it a nice little roll around on the ground. It's like I've made tortillas before, even though this is my first time. How many burritos can we crank out? I don't know, but I'm getting excited about it. Looking pretty good. We'll knock the rest out, then we'll let these rest. Popped all these balls into this tortilla warmer so they can rise and rest for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, something along those lines. And we're letting these tortillas rest so we can allow the gluten to develop, and that's gonna allow the tortillas to become chewy, super delicious, and the tortillas will actually start to spring back less when we start to roll them out. Now, I don't have a tortilla press or a chud press, but if y'all are watching this video, go over to Brad's channel and tell him your boy HTH, Harry the Horse, needs a chud press. Could help out with my new obsession of making tortillas. But while these tortillas are resting down, I'm gonna take a page out of Wilson's Barbecue's book again, and I'm gonna make my own version of his green taco sauce using some poblanos, some jalapenos, and a few other delicious ingredients. But the ultimate flavor for these begins outside at the fire pit, so let's go roast them off. Well, I got this fire somewhat rocking and rolling, but turns out trying to dig out wood underneath a bunch of snow, it's not really gonna light up too well. But at this rate, poblanos going down. Gonna get those all nice and smoky and charred up. Same with these jalapenos. Jalapenos down. And lastly, we're going down with some onion. We're going down with a sweet yellow onion. And we're just gonna let them toast off until they're blackened on the outside. Then we'll steam them off. Now y'all can skip this step and follow Dave's technique where he either boils these veg in water or roasts them in the oven. But once these are charred, I'll bring y'all back to create this sauce. Thanks, Dave. All right, I got all our veg off the fire, and all I did was throw them into a bowl covered in plastic wrap to let them sweat. That sweating or steaming allows the skins of these peppers to come off nice and easy. I left the seeds of the jalapeno in there, and now we're gonna go straight into our blender. No. I also just threw some garlic into the oven to roast it off, just for about an hour or so. So some beautifully roasted garlic going right in, and that's gonna add some amazing sweetness and amazing flavor to this taco sauce. Next in with this whole bundle of cilantro, juice of a lime, a fat pinch of kosher salt, cap it, and let it go on a fairly low setting until everything's combined. Now this is blitzed up pretty coarsely, but this is gonna need some help to emulsify, so I'm gonna add in about 200 grams of avocado oil to start. If I need more oil, I'll add some later. Yeah. Beautiful looking taco sauce here. That neon green color is crazy. It's got a good level of spice, nothing too overpowering. Deep, rich pepper flavor. My only note is I would add maybe another lime, so it's a little more citrusy. Other than that, this is good to go. Let's go slice up that bacon. And there is our beautiful smoky bacon, and I am curious if this is going to fit on the meat slicer. It doesn't quite fit on the meat slicer, so I'm gonna have to lob an end of this bacon off, which is not a big deal because we can make some bacon lardones. There you have it. Let's get this bacon started. And after all that, we have a ton of bacon. Some of these slices look really freaking good. That's slipping because the fat is rendering, but good meat to fat ratio on that slice. However, towards the end of that belly, we started to get mostly fat. So I'm gonna throw a bunch of these slices of bacon onto a sheet tray into a 350-degree oven. It is the best way to cook bacon, in my opinion. It's gonna render a ton of fat and leave us with some super crispy bacon. So while I do that, I'm also gonna cook off some of these extra crispy tater tots. Now, my opinion, just like many other opinions on the internet, is that a breakfast burrito needs a potato option. You can go hash browns, but I'm a big tater tot guy. So these are gonna hit the air fryer while the bacon hits the oven, then we'll start those eggs. All right, so I built up the courage to roll out my first tortilla, and as you guys can see, I was very gentle with it, and I was really just trying to shape it the best way that I could. A little too sticky on the rolling pin at times, but I threw a little bit of flour down, rolled, quarter turn, until I got the best shape that I possibly could. Now I've got this interesting little cast iron plancha, so we're gonna cook off our tortillas on that. So let's see how it goes. Getting a little puff. Oh no, I tore it. Okay, second round, different camera angle. And I got this one to be a little bit more circular, which is nice. Hey, what's up, man? And into the warmer. But first, can we just admire the beauty that's hot? few more to go. So we've got our tortillas done, we've got our bacon done, we've got our tater tots done, and we've got our green taco sauce done. There's one key component to a breakfast burrito that we're missing, and that is the eggs. Now you could do your eggs any way you like. Scrambled is probably the most popular for this application, but I'm gonna try and go a different route. At the butcher, they make these amazing biscuit, egg, and cheese sandwiches. The eggs that they put on that sandwich are thick, they're fluffy, and they're definitely baked. So I'm gonna attempt these squarish eggs in this burrito just for the ultimate eating experience. So let's see if we can knock them out. 6 eggs total and a bunch of heavy cream. I'm talking like this whole container. That is most of this pint. Pinch of salt, maybe 2, and we blitz them up. Now this is gonna seem really weird, but hear me out. Here's a loaf pan that I just tried to grease up with some avocado oil. And I'm gonna bake these eggs in this loaf pan to hopefully get some super thick custard-like eggs. Now I've never done this before, but I'm gonna bake these off in the oven at about 325 degrees or so. And I'm gonna put a water pan underneath the eggs. Hopefully the water will evaporate, keeping all of these eggs nice and moist so no browning happens. We just want them fully cooked through and super fluffy. Here we go. And our eggs are out and they're looking okay. Not my entire vision here, but they should work out just fine. And like everyone else says, the only cheese for any sort of breakfast sandwich is American cheese, but specifically this American cheese is the savior. This is Cooper Sharp American cheese and it is the best American cheese ever. So I'm gonna go down with a layer of this right over the top just to get it to melt and look a little ooey gooey. I'm gonna pop this in the oven real quick along with the tortilla and then we'll assemble. Down with our fresh flour tortilla. I'm actually gonna go a little bit of a cheese barrier on the bottom. These eggs actually did turn out to be my vision. Look at how custardy and fluffy that is. One more slice of cheese over the top. Maybe a couple of tater tots to line the sides of this bad mamma jamma. They just sit so snug up against that egg. But did you think we were just gonna do one side? Absolutely not. I think we'll go down with some beautifully shingled avocado. And just look at this beautiful bacon. You know how hard it is to sit there and not snack on bacon while you're waiting for eggs to cook? Oh, I can't do 6 pieces of bacon. And Cholula, that is the only option here. And shame on me, I've known Cholula was a thing. I didn't get into it until literally last week. This stuff is the best hot sauce in the world. There's zero chance here. We're gonna have to double stack that bacon. So we're gonna tuck, roll, stay confident. That's the major thing here, stay confident. Pinkies, pinkies, tight, tight, tight. And I'm gonna call that a success. And if I couldn't shout out Dave from Wilson's Barbecue enough, I'm going to use one of these little aluminum wrappers and I'm just gonna let this burrito hang out. Night, night, Rito. I guess nothing left to do than to see how we did. I mean, that does not look half bad. That's for damn sure. Look at that custardy egg in there, all that bacon, cheese. Tortilla looking not too shabby for my first attempt. We gotta dive into this one. Gotta give this a solid dunk in this sauce. Some of my favorite things: bacon, egg, cheese, tater tots, homemade tortilla. Wow. A little more Cholula on that. That looks good. I don't know which sauce to keep adding. The green sauce blends in so well, but the Cholula adds some of that tanginess. Literally the only thing I didn't make was the tater tots and the hot sauce. Like, what are you even doing at this point? Just subscribe. Oh, let's try to break this down. And I'm literally not horsing around when I say this breakfast burrito is so good, I just cannot stop. Let me just get after this corner with this sauce. The flavors are just so ridiculous. And breakfast burritos at night seems pretty freaking weird, but I'm a breakfast for dinner guy anytime. Just relax. When you bite in, you immediately get that soft, squishy flour tortilla. And I'm in the camp of a breakfast burrito having a soft tortilla. I wouldn't die on that hill, but I don't think toasting it off at the end is a necessary step when it comes to breakfast burritos. You're looking for sort of this soft, bite-through texture. You don't want things crumbling. Beyond that, you get hit with all the flavors of that green sauce, and it's got so much flavor to it. I wish it had a little more tang, but that's where the Cholula comes in. It's got a lot of sweetness from that roasted onion, a lot of pepper-forward flavor, and a little bit of spice to round it out. It's super silky and creamy. Just talking about it makes me want to dunk this into that sauce again. If you haven't made this, make it. If you haven't subscribed to Wilson's Barbecue, go and freaking do it because this is ridiculous. Next, you hit that egg. That egg is so creamy and luxurious. I'm telling you, this is the only way I'm doing eggs from now on. The Cooper Sharp is milky, it's creamy, it's got such good flavor. That bacon is salty, it's crisp, it's got a ton of smoke flavor, and homemade bacon just cannot be beat. And I don't know what else to tell y'all except for stop horsing around and make this already. Thank y'all for tuning in to Harry the Horse Barbecue. I really appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe for the vibes, hit that like for a scratch-made burrito, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts on each and every step. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I'm posting new content, and you can follow me on Instagram at Harry the Horse Barbecue. Tag me so I can see what y'all are cooking because y'all inspire these cooks. And with that being said, there's only one more thing, y'all. This one is going straight to the horse's mouth. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. I just doused that in Cholula.